Thank you all for coming. I'm extremely excited that it's so well attended at the end of a long conference. I'm even more excited to be here to talk about a subject that I think is critical to the future of the Arab world and beyond, and to have with us two leaders and practitioners from the region who are at the forefront of this effort, and I will present them in detail a bit later. The discussion we're having today stems from a project in Tunisia generated 2 years ago by the UN Democracy Fund, which I head, together with Tamkeen for Development and Zitouna Tamkeen, two NGOs in Tunisia, and Silatech, which generously sponsors this panel, later joined the effort as a partner in microfinance to support that project. All of us were determined to address the critical challenges of vulnerable youth, considering the events of the so-called Arab Spring, which started with one desperate, jobless young man in Tunisia burning himself to death. That spread like wildfire throughout the Arab world, as you know. This also saw Tunisia become the largest contributor of young jihadists to IS, both per capita and in absolute terms, which is a stunning statistic considering what a small country it is. If you add to that the huge migration flows to Europe from the region, the issues posed in Tunisia by the informal economy, and not least its neighbor Libya, the chaos going on next door in Libya, and the full range of political, ideological, and security challenges that face a post-revolutionary nation, and yet Tunisia remains a democracy full of highly educated, talented, motivated people. And there you have just some of the reasons why Tunisia deserves our attention. Not to mention it's just across the Mediterranean from here. Since 2011, Tunisia has been an absolute priority for the UN Democracy Fund, UNDEF. We fund and manage civil society projects in more than 100 countries, but we do at least 2 in Tunisia every year. Tunisia should be a priority for all donors of democracy support worldwide. On my personal part, full disclosure, Tunisia is a personal priority for me as well. I was at school in Tunis as a young girl many years ago, and the country continues to be a part of me. Tunisia today, too many young people with diplomas, too few jobs, drawn to extremism through cash and adrenaline, if I can use that shorthand, and there you have the problem in a nutshell. The project we're highlighting today, and we hope to replicate elsewhere in the region and beyond, is one of more than 10 UNDEF projects in Tunisia, but it's by far the most important. It's a pioneering initiative that promotes entrepreneurship for vulnerable youth to build participation and inclusion, and one that we aim, as I said, to replicate in other democracies at risk. So far, our project has trained almost 1,000 young potential entrepreneurs in soft skills, leadership, and participatory democracy, established over 10 civil society groups led entirely by youth, engaged a team of young people in municipal elections this year who had no interest in electoral democracy before, and provided young people with skills in business and engineering, crucially in collaboration with leading private sector companies. And there you have the difference between many other youth empowerment projects of a more old-fashioned kind, which tend to focus on young people collaborating with municipalities and local councils. But here it's the injection of private company energy that makes the difference. To tell us more about this and youth empowerment in the region and beyond, we have first Ms. Sabah Ismail Al-Haidous, the CEO of Silatech, an organization based in Qatar with a mission to create jobs, economic opportunities, and vocational training for Arab youth and beyond, particularly through microfinance partnerships. Ms. Sabah is a veteran of youth empowerment and education. She has championed a range of educational reforms in Qatar, served on the Board of Trustees of Qatar University and the Supreme Council for Family Affairs. Honored to have you with us. Dr. Nabil Ghaleb is the founding CEO of Zitouna Tamkeen, one of the largest microfinance and economic empowerment institutions of Tunisia, and Tamkeen for Development, which specializes in the same topic. It is his organization which is implementing our project in Tunisia. He previously served as a senior investment manager in the Islamic Development Bank and as investment advisor to the mayor of Medina. He returned to his native Tunisia 3 years ago as a man on a mission. He has already blazed a trail from day one. There you have our distinguished two panelists. I invite them both to make brief opening remarks, after which we will get our interactive discussion going. Ms. Sabah, you have the floor.
شكرا جزيلا. قبل ما أبدأ النقطة اللي بتكلم فيها، أحب أعزي الشعب اليوناني بضحايا الحرائق التي تمت في الصيف. أتمنى لليونان إن شاء الله أن تنعم بالأمن والأمان. في قصة قصيرة أود أن أشارككم فيها، قصة شاب صومالي عبدي سيكون صديقنا في اللحظات القادمة. عبدي تعرض لأصعب أنواع التحديات في الصومال، سواء كان فقر، عدم استقرار، مجاعات، قتال داخلي. عبدي هرب إلى ليبيا حتى يتمكن هو وزملائه من هجرة غير شرعية إلى إيطاليا بحثاً عن الرزق وعن الاستقرار، ولكن شاء أن يغرق جميع أصدقائه في مركب غير صالح في وسط الماء، وبقي عبدي في ليبيا دون أي أكل أو مصروف أو حياة. تهافت عليه تجار البشر، الجماعات المتطرفة أرادوا أن يستقطبونه لديهم، وكان عبدي على وشك أن يلتحق بهذه الجماعات، ولكن عندما علم أن هناك في وطنه بدأت مشاريع تدعم الشباب وتعينهم على فتح سبيل رزق وتوفير وظائف، عاد إلى وطنه. الآن وأنا أتكلم معكم عبدي لديه 4 مقاهي، ويشغل لديه أكثر من 10 من الشباب. القصة القصيرة أود أن أختزل جميع ما نقوم به في مجال تمكين الشباب الأكثر تهميشاً وفقراً، حيث أن مؤسسة صلتك تساعد هؤلاء الشباب. هي تعمل على مكافحة البطالة ومكافحة الإرهاب، والأهم من ذلك تمكينهم اقتصادياً حتى تتوفر لديهم حياة كريمة، ويتمكنوا من أن يساهموا في مجتمعاتهم بأن يكونوا طاقة فعالة، وبذلك نكسب هؤلاء الشباب في تكوين حكومات ودول ترفل بالأمن والأمان. هناك علاقة بين التمكين الاقتصادي والتمكين الاجتماعي. التمكين الاقتصادي لا يمكن أن نفصله ونفصل التمكين الاجتماعي. التكامل بينهما يصنع قدرة للشباب حتى يكون لهم دور في السلم والتنمية. في تقرير من منظمة العمل الدولية يتكلم عن أن استمرار تفاقم أزمة توظيف الشباب تؤدي إلى أن يكون هناك انتشار التوتر الاجتماعي، وأيضاً يعيد صناعة الاقتصاد في الدول. وهناك نتائج قد لا نستطيع أن نتنبأ بها عندما يكون هناك شباب لا يعانون من البطالة. أيضاً هناك الكثير من الدراسات تتكلم عن أن هناك علاقة بين البطالة بين الشباب ومشاركتهم في النزاعات، وأنه يسهل دخول هؤلاء الشباب الذين لا يملكون عملاً في هؤلاء الجماعات. هناك مثال بسيط من دراسة قام بها البنك الدولي عن الفئة التي تلتحق بالجماعات المتطرفة. اتضح أن أغلب اللي يلتحقون بالجماعات المتطرفة من الشباب، وليس الذين لا يمتلكون تعليم، بل هم شباب لديهم مؤهلات أكاديمية عالية. هذا معناه أن البطالة هي سبب التحاقهم بهؤلاء الجماعات المتطرفة. أن التمكين والديمقراطية هو وجهان لعملة واحدة. وقد أجمعت الحكومات في مؤتمر عالمي في 2005 على أن الإرادة الحرة للناس في تحديد نظمهم السياسية، الاقتصادية، الاجتماعية والثقافية، والمشاركة الكاملة في كل جوانبهم الحياتية. إذن عندما يكون هناك تمكين اقتصادي تسهل عملية مشاركة الشباب ودخولهم في الحياة السياسية التي تبني الحكومات الرشيدة. ومن الطبيعي أن التمكين الاجتماعي لا يأتي كهبة ولا يمنح من فوق، إنما هو عبارة عن دعم عن طريق الوعي المكتسب والنشاط والممارسة اليومية. إن صلتك تغطي تقريباً 17 دولة. طبعاً في كتيب عندكم التقرير السنوي فيه الكثير من المعلومات عن المؤسسة وعن أعمالها، فأنا أتركه بين يديكم، يعني لن أسهب كثيراً فيما يتعلق بمؤسسة صلتك. ولكن نحن نعلم أن الوظيفة تمنح الاستقلالية والثقة والشعور بالانتماء. أن التدريب الفني والتدريب في مجال التماسك الاجتماعي يبني قدرات لدى الشباب، كما نعمل الآن في تونس، وكما ذكرت زميلتي عن مشروعنا في تونس والذي سيتكلم دكتور نبيل بإسهاب عنه. مؤسسة صلتك ساهمت أيضاً بإنشاء مراكز. هذه المراكز تساعد الشباب على إبداء أصواتهم، وأيضاً أن يقوموا بدراسات عديدة في مناصرة للسياسات التنموية. وهناك مركز في لبنان، مركز حلول، وثاني في تونس مركز الشرق الأوسط وشمال أفريقيا لبحوث السياسات الشبابية، وهذا بالتعاون مع المركز الدولي لبحوث التنمية في كندا. رابعاً طبعاً والأهم في هذه النقطة أن احنا كثيراً نعمل التمكين الاقتصادي، دائماً نبحث أينما يكون التمكين الاجتماعي حتى يكون هناك تكامل بين الاثنين. في الختام أنا لا أحب أن أطيل عليكم. نحن في صلتك مستمرون في تنفيذ رؤية ورسالة المؤسسة الداعية إلى الاهتمام بالشباب، لأن الشباب هم قوة محركة في تنمية المجتمعات ونشر السلام والأمن، وذلك بتمكينهم بصورة شمولية وإتاحة الفرصة لهم لأن يكونوا مؤثرين وفاعلين. نحن ندعو الجميع بالاهتمام المباشر والموجه للشباب. نحن نعلم أن جميع المساهمات الإنسانية والتنموية توجه للتعليم، الصحة، الإغاثة، ولكن نحن ندعو إلى التركيز الأكبر والأهم للشباب، لأن عندما يتمكن الشباب تتمكن المجتمعات وتنمو. شكراً جزيلاً.
At first glance, frankly speaking, it sounds interesting, but complicated and weird, likewise Arab world. This is why probably today it's very important, to talk about this topic and, the impact of economic empowerment of youth on strengthened democracy. As you may know, I come from Tunisia, and What makes me proud, among many other things, is that in 2015, the Nobel Prize for Peace was awarded to my country for our ability to lead a national dialogue that kept the country on the track toward building a pluralistic democracy, despite the political assassination and the social and political unrest that risked to jeopardize the whole process. However, 7 years after our revolution, I think it's high time, it's big time to show the same unity and the same political courage to address a very serious issue that will lead or that will probably determine the future of the country for generations to come. I'm talking particularly about sustainable development, economic growth, job creation, and well-being of people. Youth unemployment, as you may know, in Tunisia is high, and it's higher among the most educated one, which brings an enormous economic cost to the country, as vast amounts of our human capital is simply go wasted. And this risk is really to destroy the social cohesion in Tunisia and to push people and to push youth, to adopt or to get involved in very illegal activities like extremism, violence, crime, and illegal immigration. We have seen in Tunisia, like in many other countries, how the weight of the crisis and conflicts has fallen unfairly on youth, leaving behind it a legacy of failed hope, of anger, of frustration, of disappointment. And, this legacy, unfortunately, will lead ultimately to a mistrust in the values of our society and a mistrust in the identity of our democracy. Democracy does not imply stability. This is simple, this is obvious. And democracy, could lead to the outbreak of conflict, if the macroeconomic context is not improving and the economy is not doing well. So this is why today it's very important to focus on giving sustainable economic activities to youth to strengthen our democracy. Angry youth, disappointed youth could be a threat not only to dictatorships, but could be a threat also to democracies. In fact, in Tunisia in 2011, the disappointed youth brought down the regime, the dictator regime, but after 7 years, the same disappointed youth could also be a threat to our new democracy. It's big time now to talk about economic empowerment. It's big time to talk about economic growth, and this is why the economic empowerment of youth should be at the forefront agenda of the Arab world, growth prospectus for the next decade or even longer. So probably we'll have the chance to talk in details about economic empowerment model and approach and our project in Tunisia later on.
Thank you, Nabil. And congratulations on the very promising start of this effort in Tunisia. I'd like to start off the discussion by asking you to explain more specifically how would you say that economic empowerment works in practice to support vulnerable youth to develop innovating enterprise in a situation that you face in Tunisia today?
Yes, actually let me first define what is empowerment and what is economic empowerment. Actually, the empowerment is a term that has been embraced by a wide range of institutions. Empowerment, in most definition means the acquisition of power and authority and access to resources. Economic empowerment was defined by the World Bank as the expansion of assets and capabilities of vulnerable people, including youth, including rural women, including unemployed people, to be able to participate in, negotiate with, influence, control sustainable and solid institutions that could impact their lives and their communities. So to empower people, we need really, to go through a process. Number one, we have to enable them or to develop their capacities in terms of project management, in terms of soft skills. We have also to give them access, to economic opportunities and enable them, to participate in these opportunities effectively. We have also to give them access to resources to produce, to navigate, and to trade. We have also, to enable them, to obtain financial resources and definitely to have access to market. It seems very theoretical, but I'm going to talk a bit about our experience in Temkin and how we make this happen. Actually, what we do in Temkin is very simple. We start by finding out the investment opportunities. We know that these people need a sustainable investment opportunity. And we have a dedicated department called Business Engineer Department, and we send our business engineers to the very vulnerable zone where these people live and to come up with sustainable, appropriate investment opportunities, and we capitalize on the competitive advantage of these regions. Once done, we build the business model and the business plan in a win-win logic with these people. After that, we start looking for smart partnerships. By smart partnerships, I mean from government structures, from the private sector players, from NGOs, people or entities or structures willing to help in making this project happen. Once done, we move to a third step, which is building up or setting up programs for capacity buildings and development and skills development. I mean by that soft skills, technical skills, managerial skills. Then we try to provide the basic infrastructure, of course in collaboration with our partners, in particular the government. Then we help these people to get access to the market by contracting with off-takers. And off-taker usually are from the private sector, and they are companies willing to buy from these poor people all their productions, whatever it is, agriculture, industrial, handicraft, services, and finally we give them financing. So, a few remarks or few lessons from this model. Number one, it's an integrated model. Number two, we talk about financing as just a small link in the whole chain, because in Zaytouna Temkin and in Temkin Group, we talk a lot about financial inclusion, and we talk a bit about financial inclusion. Economic inclusion for us is the ultimate goal. Financial inclusion is just a bridge toward, broader inclusion, call it economic inclusion. Number two, we manage the risk. By building up this chain, we are controlling the input of the chains and the output of the chains. And once we do that, we are managing the risk on behalf of these people. We are negotiating with key players on behalf of these people, vulnerable people. So what we do basically is we are offering them very sustainable opportunities, and help them to quit this circle of poverty and the circle of unemployment for good.
Thank you, Nabil. This brings to mind something that the late Kofi Annan, my former boss, who also works in this area, by the way, was fond of saying, which is, you're never too young to lead. And I would like to add to that, you're never too young to succeed, given the theme of what we're talking about today. And I think that can be an important injection of what they so lack and why they're drawn to extremism. The cash and adrenaline that is the pull factor can be used in the other direction, I hope, with this kind of effort. Ms. Sabah, did you want to complement what Nabil said to that from your perspective?
I need to tell this one in English. I'm very happy because many youth is there. Yeah. I'm feeling the positive power. So I'm speaking Arabic now. يعني نحن من خلال خبرتنا في التمكين في عملنا في 17 دولة، سواء كانت هي دول في الشرق الأوسط احنا عملنا فيها، أو في مثل تركيا، أو مثل الدول العربية، وفي أفريقيا. كان من المؤلم جدا أن نرى الشباب الذين يعانون من البطالة أو عدم وجود فرصة، لكن اللي كان مؤلم أكثر أن هؤلاء الشباب كانوا مهمشين إلى درجة كبيرة، إلى درجة أنهم لا يعتبرونهم فئة محركة داخل المجتمعات. الثورات التي حدثت، ثورات الربيع إذا كان يصح التسمية، أو الجماعات المتطرفة، ونحن لا نتكلم هنا عن الوطن العربي فقط، نحن نتكلم عن مشكلة دولية. المشكلة الدولية تنصب على جميع الدول الآن، البطالة، تهميش الشباب، عدم النظر إلى أن الشباب قوة أصبحت هي القوة الأولى يقودنا إلى ما نحن فيه الآن، سواء من فقر، مجاعات، عدم استقرار، عدم وجود أمن، جماعات متطرفة، شباب محبط. أنا أعتقد أن التمكين الاقتصادي، التمكين الاجتماعي، إتاحة الفرصة للشباب هي ثلاثة مفاتيح لحلول جميع التحديات التي يواجهها العالم الآن.
Thank you, Ms. Sabah. Encouraging words. I'd like to open now to members of our community here, and like Ms. Sabah, I'm really happy to see young people, I think from many countries as well, including Greece, of course, where youth entrepreneurship is also becoming a movement. So who'd like to start? Sir.
My name is Jonathan Charles. I'm from the executive of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and we're very active, obviously, in Tunisia and indeed many of the countries in the region. And in fact, I've just come back from a trip to Egypt, and that really left quite an indelible mark on me, actually. I've been very many times, but this time I really wanted to see what was happening on the employment question. I went to visit a number of companies and to go around the area. And I think, you know, it struck me that although there are solutions and there is an attempt to bring forward entrepreneurship amongst young people, there are jobs that can be created, the scale of the challenge is absolutely immense. And I, you know, in Egypt, where you have a population growing by 2 million a year, huge numbers of young people coming onto the jobs market. You know, I heard many stories from entrepreneurs about the creation of jobs and heard some fantastic examples, but I worry about the sheer scale of the challenge in the region. And all these ways we have and others have of bringing jobs into the region, we're certainly making progress, but it takes time. And I wonder what you think about the time question, because I worry that time is against us. And it's hard to tell young people to wait a decade or 10, 15 years, and we may be talking around that timeline, before we see any really tangible, massive improvement in the job situation. And I'm interested to get your views on that.
Thank you.
When you spoke about high youth unemployment, it is a phenomenon across the world. When I look at Spain, I look at France, I look at Italy, and I see 25 to 30% youth unemployment, I tend to look at that and think there's partly a democracy problem there, because there's lots of rules that mean that the older people with jobs, like all the rules that protect them, at the expense of those under 30. Does that problem translate to Tunisia, or is it a different set of problems? So I look at Europe as many rules protecting the old. Is that the problem you're facing?
Could we hear from some of the very young people in the audience, much as I respect my distinguished colleagues?
Hi, I'm Costanza. I'm a student
Please.
from Rome, Italy. I'm a business and entrepreneurship student, so this is an incredible opportunity to be listening in a conversation like this one from perspectives that come from all over the world and are bringing forward a problem that I think I've truly started thinking about for the first time when I was finishing my final exam for high school, and I was writing down about youth unemployment for my essay. And I had to write down 30%, and the 30% for Italy is something that increases and decreases and goes back and forth, and we never know when this cycle will end. And we wonder, as youth, and I wonder personally, individually, if a solution comes not only, and I agree, it comes from institutions, but it comes from a very delicate balance between the governments and the private sector that comes together. And here I think we're seeing an obvious example of how powerful it could be when the private sector comes and goes hand in hand with its institutions, and maybe a multi-stakeholder approach together with the institutional help and aid that is necessary would be the solution also to the time problem that is being posed. So two big forces coming together. Those are my thoughts thus far, and would like to know more.
Thank you. I think we could start by responding to those three, and I'll let my distinguished panelists do that. But on Jonathan Charles's question about the long wait, could I be so bold as to say that Tunisia, because of its size and manageability from that perspective, could be a bit of an inspiring laboratory? But of course, I agree, it has to be brought up to scale massively with many actors joining us. And I'd like to ask Nabil to talk about the possibility of replicating this in other countries. But first, maybe Ms. Sabah would like to answer, especially the youth point. Thank you.
تونس مثال فقط، لكن نحن نعمل مثلا في المغرب في 2020 سيتم توفير ما يعادل 1,000,000 وظيفة. نحن نعمل في مصر، نحن نعمل في الصومال، في السودان، لدينا أعمال كثيرة في السودان. اليمن بالرغم من صعوبة دخول اليمن، هناك يعني صعوبة تفاقم لأزمة إنسانية داخل اليمن، وكثير من المنظمات الإنسانية تقريبا هربت من اليمن، لكن ما زلنا نحن نعمل داخل اليمن. تونس هي مجرد مثال، لكن احنا نعتقد أن المثال الرابط ما بين التمكين الاقتصادي والتمكين الاجتماعي كتجربة جديدة نقوم بها بالتعاون مع شركائي في هذه الندوة، أكيد احنا نعمل على توسعتها والنظر في أن تكون هناك دول أخرى. لكن نحن كمؤسسة صلتك كمعالجة لمشكلة تمكين اقتصادي الشباب، نحن نعمل يعني بشتى الدول. نحن إلى الآن وصلنا إلى تقريبا 1,000,000 وظيفة إلى اليوم. في 2022 سنصل إلى 3 ملايين وظيفة، ونسعى إلى أن يزيد العدد. فلا نقتصر على تونس. قد يكون كلامك صحيح أن هناك كثير من المنظمات الإنسانية تتوجه إلى تونس، لكن بالنسبة لصلتك لا، نحن نعمل في جميع مناطق الشرق الأوسط وشمال أفريقيا. بس في نقطة أثرت جون بالنسبة للوقت. أنا يعني الوقت قاتل في كل الأمور، ليس في معالجة البطالة. وأنا أعتقد الوقت لم يفت لأي جهد، حتى لو كان جهودا قليلة يعني. فالمفروض نبدأ، يعني ما ننتظر أن نحكم على الوقت، المفروض نبدأ بالعمل.
I would like to get back to this to the point of the time. Time is challenge. True, time is challenge, and this is why probably today, when you look at the microfinance, micro, medium, small enterprises, the mortality rate, over 3 years, we are talking about 70%. So we need sustainability and we need impact. And why we talk about economic empowerment over here? Because economic empowerment is the impact. Today, in Temkin, for example, we design a project for thousands of people. Probably we start with a pilot of 50 to 100 only. But when we start duplicating, the economy of scale is huge, and the impact, we can reach the impact very quickly. We don't need really, classical solutions, right, to give it to unemployed people, disappoint already, and could be really, big threat to our democracy. So we need impact and we need sustainability at this stage.
May I have answered the question for the...
Ian, did you have your question answered?
I can answer. Yes, please. Okay. Okay. كان السؤال عن موضوع البطالة والديمقراطية، الربط بين البطالة، ويمكن ذكرت أمثلة هي إسبانيا واليونان. طبعاً إسبانيا واليونان، يعني على حد علمي أن اليونان فيها نسب بطالة لا تختلف عن أي دولة من دول العالم، يعني كل الدول فيها نسب بطالة متفاوتة. ما نقدر نصنع ديمقراطية دون أن يكون هناك معالجة للبطالة. بما أن هناك بطالة من الرفاهية، نتكلم الآن عن ديمقراطية. عندما نمكن الشباب اقتصادياً ننطلق بهم إلى توفير حرية في اختيارات أخرى غير المعيشة. يعني رقم واحد أن الإنسان يجد المكان للسكن والأكل حتى يستطيع أن ينطلق في الأمور الأخرى. فأنا إحنا عندنا بالنسبة لنا البطالة هي رقم واحد، علاج البطالة هو رقم واحد. ثم النقطة الأخرى التمكين الاجتماعي، لأن دون تمكين اقتصادي لا يمكن أن نمكن اجتماعياً.
Thank you, sir. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. The last 20 almost years in Greece, we're fighting for youth unemployment and create jobs. Almost we have more than 45% unemployment of youth. In the last 10 years, the country lost 25% of the GDP. So in those circumstances, we have discovered that in order to give empowerment to youth, you need to give openness. You need to make them to be part of the decision making, either on a political level or on the entrepreneurship level. That's why 95% of our time has spent it to give networks, to give knowledge, to mentor them 24/7 in order to feel not just to create their own future, but what they create, it will benefit all of us. You can see now those that they stay in the country, despite the difficulties of the austerity measures the last 8 years, they fight not just for their own future, but the future of their people from the university. So now, in order to give them that, you need the legal system to work, to see transparency and to see openness. We go to the policymakers, we say the same. We go to the universities, we say the same. We get to municipalities, to regions, we taught the same. We teach them entrepreneurial mindset, not necessarily to create businesses, but to see the big picture. The 17 Global Sustainable Goals is a very good impact measurement of what we do at local, national, and global level. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's a big topic, and I'm glad you tied it into Goal 16. I'm going to let Nabil speak to that, but just to echo what you say, that we absolutely see the economic empowerment effort as a road to political participation, and the Tunisia Project indeed has already engaged youth both as monitors and as candidates in some elections, so that they feel very much part of the contributing to the future of society. But Nabil, please go ahead.
I think this is a very valid point. Actually, we have a project called Entrepreneurship for Participation and Inclusion of Vulnerable Youth in Tunisia, funded by United Nations Democracy Fund and implemented by our NGO Temkin. Actually, what we do here, we are trying, to improve empirically, to test empirically this correlation between economic empowerment and political participation and civic engagement. We would like, to show that by giving to people sustainable economic opportunities, we will increase their civic engagement and their participation in the political life, and indicators and results are very promising. For the time being, we trained 1,200 people, right, in one of the least developed, zone in the country. 13 NGOs was created. 8 agricultural cooperatives was created and managed 100% by this youth. 40% of our sample has voted for the first time of its life, in the last elections happened in Tunisia, and 60% of the whole sample has exercised its right to vote, against 30% as a national rate, So we have 60% of people, involved in the political life in the country in our sample against 30% on national level. So what I'm trying to say here is definitely when we immune people, when we give them a hope, economic hope in this darkness of unemployment and in crisis, people will be more involved and will try to help and to have impact on their communities and societies. And this is what we are experiencing in our project with United Nations Democracy Fund.
Thank you, Nabil. I think we have a question here.
سيدة صباح أنا سعيدة جدا بوجودك. I will translate my question in English in a second. But عندما نقول توفير وظائف ماذا نعني بوظائف؟ ما هي الوظائف الجديدة التي يمكن توفيرها بسهولة بسرعة بموارد بسيطة؟ التعليم كان سبب في البطالة قديما، ولكن حديثا التعليم أصبح جزء من المشكلة. So my question was simply that when we say creating jobs, what do we mean by that? And what jobs can easily be created with simple resources that empower the youth and inspire them to get started on their own projects?
في سؤال اللي تم طرحه بالنسبة لعلاج البطالة، هو علاج متكامل ما بين الحكومة، المنظمات الحكومية، الغير حكومية، المؤسسات المدنية، الشباب. هو حلول متكاملة بين الجميع. الشباب على حدة لا يستطيع حل مشكلة، الحكومة على حدة لا تستطيع حل مشكلة، لكن بتضامن الجهود ممكن أن نحل المشكلات، يعني مشكلة البطالة. الأخت ممكن أعرف الاسم؟
اسمي سارة. I'm Sarah. أنا فلسطينية سورية في أمريكا.
بالنسبة لسؤال سارة، نحن لا نوجد وظائف يعني نخلقها من فراغ. نحن نلجأ لبعض التكنيك الذي يساعد الشباب وجهات العمل في الالتقاء. على مثل ما ذكرتي، التعليم قد يكون أحد مشاكل التوظيف، لأن لا يصنع شاب مؤهل للوظيفة، فنحن نعمل على سد الفجوة ما بين التعليم والتوظيف. هذه أحد التكنيك اللي نستخدمه، وعلى فكرة هذا التكنيك هو استخدامه في فلسطين. احنا يعني قد يكون تعليم عالي لكن غير مؤهل للوظيفة، فاحنا نساعد على سد الفجوة. أحد التكنيك أن يكون الوصول الشاب إلى العمل صعب، لا يعرف أين الوظائف الموجودة، فنحن نوفر مثل بورتال للشباب حيث يوجدون وظائف لهم في هذا البورتال. الشباب لديهم مشاريع صغيرة، نحن نؤهل الشاب حتى يكون متمكن من إقامة هذا المشروع الصغير ونساعده على نجاحه، ونتعاون مع مؤسسات مالية مثل تمكين زيتونة، وإحنا عندنا عديد من المؤسسات المالية اللي تمنحه القرض، لكن نحن نساعده بأن نكون ضامنين له ونؤهله أن يكون مشروعه ناجح. فهو تكنيك أكثر من أنه هو وظيفة يعني من تحت ما نخلقها خلق. هو تكنيك بسيط، لأن أغلب الشباب عندهم يعني بعض الإشكاليات التي يواجهها الشباب في تمويل مشاريعهم الصغيرة. عادة الشباب لا يمنحون قروض لأنهم أكثر فئة خطرة بالنسبة للمؤسسات التمويلية. الشباب بعضهم يكون يعيش في الريف، وأغلب المؤسسات التمويلية داخل المدينة، فبعض الإشكاليات البسيطة تعيق الشباب من الوصول للوظيفة. نحن نساعد على معالجة هذه التحديات. شكرا.
Thank you again for offering a region-wide perspective. Could I ask Nabil also to talk, given that regional perspective, specifically how you believe that you can replicate the Tunisian experience more widely and perhaps in even more challenging environments, and where? Thank you.
Thank you, Anika. Actually, we are not looking to replicate the Tunisian experience. We are looking to replicate the economic empowerment model, and this is different because each country has its own socio-economic reality. Early performance indicators of our approach are very promising. Today, our approach and our model are attracting more and more the interest and the attention of local and international partners. This is why we decided today to create or to establish the International Center for Economic Empowerment, which will equip NGOs, multilaterals, banks, and microfinance institutions with tools, processes, manuals, database of economic empowerment projects that can be replicated elsewhere, and it will be in collaboration with many local and international partners. The technical assistance, the training, and the business engineering will be at the forefront of our offer. Hopefully this dream, come true, and it will be our gift to the humanity.
Thank you. Salman, and then this gentleman here. Thank you.
Thank you, Anika, and thank you for this interesting discussion. I have a question for you, Anika. I still believe that I'm young, and under 35, that's fine. I'm from a new democracy. I was born and raised in Tunisia. So everything that you're saying here is touching me directly. So my question is, we feel like as a Tunisians that democracy is most about institutions, framework, legal framework or social framework. It's somehow on the top, while empowerment is a ground field. It's more human-centered. It touches directly the direct needs of the people. And it's wonderful to see UNDEF today developing models that first links these two things, democracy, participation, and empowerment, and two, works with the private sector, because in countries where we have endangered democracies, the public sector has other priorities rather than empowering youth, because it's somehow out of control. So my question for you, Annika, is what do you think is the relationship between empowerment and democracy? Is it a symptom or a cause? Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll go to, we had that gentleman and then this one.
My name is Spiros Koutroumbas. I am a researcher in the National Technical University of Athens in the School of Electrical Engineering. I would like to congratulate you at first for giving opportunities to young people and opening doors and addressing the youth unemployment in such rates as I'm seeing here, 3 million jobs in 2022, and creating sustainable and developing your economic growth towards young people is something admirable. And first of all, I would like to congratulate you. I would like to see that the education, to point that the education with the applied research cannot be a problem, but a huge solution, because the young people and the young higher educated people could address their problems with a scientific approach and connect their intelligence with the private sector and create jobs that didn't mapped before. So, what are the initiatives of interconnecting appropriately the higher education, the research with the private sector, and if you have initiatives to fund universities to create entrepreneurs and create their own success story? Thank you very much.
I'm Michalis Tangos from Industry Disruptors, actually a Greek non-profit organization that was created in 2012, promoting innovation and entrepreneurship in the country. And now we are in 64 countries. What I would like to respond to you, actually, there is quite a few tools. What we saw, and as Sarah said, sometimes education is on the other side of the fence, is how to bring universities and research institutes on the table. And because they are very heavy organizations and their structure are not so flexible, we designed 3 master degree programs with different universities and research institutes promoting exactly innovation and entrepreneurship. So we went to the Medical School of Athens, and in collaboration with them, we developed a biomolecular medicine master degree, where the innovation and entrepreneurship component, it's helping actually these young researchers to understand what is entrepreneurship. And you know what was the most impressive thing? Out of the 25 students, when I entered the class, 24 had no interest in entrepreneurship. Their goal was to go back in research, finish their master's, and continue to do what they were doing through bidding programs, Horizon 2020, to continue research. At the end of the class, 19 of them continue researching about entrepreneurship and joined our actions regarding innovation and to know more how they can commercialize their degrees. So it would be a very good example, and we did that. We replicated with a National Research Institute, with the Economic and Business School here in Athens, and I think this is a very good path on how gradually open the door. And this is an important factor as well, because we created an incubator with the National Polytechnic School. The key asset there is the private sector. The private sector, if it's active and put some rules in the good way to the universities, because this bringing the funding, I mean, to connect with the community and with stakeholders that are on the ground and are actually doing the job, that will bring much faster results.
Thank you very much. I'll quickly answer Salman's point and try to open the door for yours, and then I'm afraid we have to wrap up. Is it a cause or an effect? Is economic empowerment one or the other? It's a virtuous cycle, and one that we have to set in motion to counter what Ms. Sabah described as the vicious cycle that we currently have between unemployment and conflict. We can set that in motion through the fundamental input of youth empowerment. And every cycle begins with one small movement. So that's what we're doing here today. You can't separate cause and effect, I hope, in this case. The two related points that the two distinguished professors made, I will let my colleagues speak and close the discussion with that, but just to say that one of the points I made last night in the Stoa of Attilos was that we need to bridge the divide between the two cultures in our societies, the cultures of science and humanities, and you gentlemen have offered a very practical way of doing that. It's in my mind already to try and develop the model that you described about applied research, private sector, and I look forward to continuing offline the dialogue with you on that. Nabil and Ms. Sabah, would you like to offer a few closing remarks on that point? Thank you.
جملة بسيطة بس إن أنا دائما أكرر موضوع الشباب من المهم جدا أن يكونوا هم أولوية في السياسات الموضوعة سواء على المستوى الدولي أو على مستوى الدول أو حتى على مستوى المنظمات غير الحكومية.
I finish by saying, that probably youth economic empowerment should be at the forefront agenda of countries, and it should be done in very innovative way, not in a very classical way.
Thank you, everybody.